Buffs and Blindsides back again. The comprehensive, completely unbiased, only objectively correct podcast
We
for
have
all
never once
things
stated an opinion. Just objectively.
Survivor 44. I'm Tim, here
I'm
with
Evan.
my ever perspicacious co-host Evan. Before we get into things, as always, for episode 5, go watch that on CBS or Paramount Plus, or don't. Who am I to tell you what to do? So, how's it going, Evan?
It's going pretty well. I loved the vocab word there to start. I'm going to have to Google that after the show. But I hope it was a good thing.
That was one of my high school English teachers' favorite words to say, perspicacious.
Wow. It's fancy, if nothing else. I'm vibing.
Yeah. Only perspicacious people use the word perspicacious.
You know what? I buy that from the sound of it. No context, but I'm with you.
Yep. So, what do we want to get into first?
I want to get into that was just a really different episode of Survivor. I don't know. I was looking back at my notes right before we went and recorded this, and it just had different tone than the rest of the season, and I was here for it.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely had I could definitely tell from the pacing something was off. It felt very different.
It was just a little more laid back or something. Yeah, I don't know, but I was here for it.
Well, the challenge itself was only like a few minutes long.
Yeah. And it did
that
come late
itself
in the
was
episode
pretty
too.
interesting.
Yeah. It was just a good vibe though, I gotta say. I saw a tweet about, there could only be one good season of Survivor going at a time, and apparently I don't watch Australian Survivor, but apparently this season was really good. And now that that's over, they think US Survivor will get good again. I don't know. Sounds like a conspiracy theory to me, but I thought
I don't even know where you can watch Australian Survivor, but I hear nothing but good things, so I might have to check it out at some point.
Yeah, if you ever find it, let me know. I might join in with you.
But right off the bat, they're teasing us with that Survivor theme again.
Oh,
I don't know if you noticed.
Oh, I know.
I think they're going to be bringing it back at some point, I think. And they're just teasing. They got me it's like Pavlov's dogs here. I'm salivating.
I'm going to be not greedy about it. I'm going to enjoy what I've got. This is good enough. If we get a full feedback, I'll cry with joy. But for now, I'm satiated.
They could literally do like the 20-second version and I would be happy.
Exactly. Yeah, no. I will say though, as a market change from the last time they include this, it was not the high point of the episode for me. It was the second highest point of the episode.
Okay. Are you going to get into what the first highest point is?
I think we can get there right away. It was pretty early in the episode. It was the hug. The Matt and Franny hug. Oh my god. It was so long. Think about how smelly those two have to be, how gross they are. And that hug was so long. I was uncomfortable watching it because it was so long. I loved it. It was amazing.
Very wholesome moment between the two of them. They spent a lot of time on that edit. And it was very wholesome. I enjoyed it. It was...
I just feel like we'd heard a lot about them early in the season, maybe not as much in some of the recent episodes because we've been busy with other stuff. It was good to get back and see that they're still going strong. When they initially showed the confessional, it was Jamie talking to Franny about how she doesn't trust Matt. I was like, no, Franny, you can't betray Matt. Please don't do it. I mean, girl boss, do it if you got it, but please don't. And I was really tweaking for a minute until they then engaged in the longest hug that's ever been shown on television, and it righted the ship for me.
She could turn on him. It would be like a top 10 Survivor moment for sure if that happens. She would be a instant Survivor legend if she turned on Matt.
Don't get me wrong. I'm almost rooting for her to turn on Matt for the character arc. I just want it to be later in the show. I want it to be at a more devastating moment than pre-merge.
Right. Yeah, that's
I want it to be final 3, she votes him out. She sends him to go make fire or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But definitely glad that they got back to the primary story of the season. Nothing else really matters, just Matt and Franny.
Yeah, I really do feel like there's two camps on this season, and you're either big on the Matt Franny train or you're big on the Carolyn train. Don't get me wrong, I think Carolyn's great, But I love the Matt Franny train, so I was so glad for this storyline to pop back up.
Right.
I think just in general, like the Sokka vibe of that tribe, for the most part, is just off the charts. Feels good.
Absolutely. I wrote that down in my notes. I was just like, in my notes, I really have, I love Sokka.
Yeah, I think like if it weren't for, I loved the Orange Tribe on 42. That was like the Jonathan, Marianne, Omar one. I thought they were such a little like cute group, like overcoming. So they were my favorite tribe in a long time. But if it weren't for them, Sokka would definitely be my favorite in a hot minute. Sokka's my number 2 of recent tribes, I would say.
I'm gonna have to cop that Sokka buff.
Yeah, I think I might have to get
the CBS store.
Yeah.
Sponsor us, CBS.
Maybe Jeff can make an ad for us on his official podcast, which, by the way, quick off topic, have you kept up listening to Jeff's podcast?
I never listened to more than like the first half hour of the first episode.
Okay, I have not listened yet, and I should.
I'm going to be honest, it does sound like an interesting listen. There's too many things to keep up with. TV shows, music, movies. I only got time for one show in my life, and that's Survivor 44. And Buffs and Blindsides, that too.
Priorities in line. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah. So I think even before that, we go back to Tika, and there's just this aftermath of last week, that tribal and all the flipping that happened. Carolyn didn't want to be the third turd.
Yeah.
Jam kind of blowing up his game.
Do you view that as Jam blowing up his game? I don't know if I agree with that take. I think knowing what we knew about Jam and like how we've seen him operate on the island up until this point, I was a little surprised Carolyn wasn't ready to deal with that aftermath a bit better. Like she almost seemed caught off guard by it, and that surprised me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like I wrote down that he was blowing up his game, but he was just kind of making some poor decisions, I would just say.
I mean, yeah, I think he was acting like not the best. Like I agree it was whiny and not optimal, but I'm a big like hold your cards close to your chest guy, and he's aware your emotions like out in front of you.
Right.
And so I don't know if I would count that as blowing up his game. I just felt like he was putting it all out there, and I don't know. I think we've seen worse like post-vote blow-ups from people before.
Yeah. That's kind of surprising coming from you, though, because you're definitely the person who's like, you hate when people do that. You hate when, like, why did you flip on me? Why'd you target me in this vote?
I hate when people, like, when you vote for someone and then they freak the hell out about you throwing a single vote on them in a throwaway. I think that's... Okay. I get why you're annoyed when someone flips on you without telling you that you thought was your ally. I mean, realistically, like, as much as Jam I think was being annoying to Carolyn at the end of last episode, I don't know if that warranted a flip. Like, I think she was fine to flip. Like, it was a good move. I think it was a good move. But like, if I'm Jam, I would be like, yeah, that was not like enough of a betrayal for you to flip on me like that with no explanation. Like, I kind of get his frustration here. That being said, I don't think he should like hold it against her and be like, I'm done with her the rest of the game for it. I just think there was going to be a fallout from this move that I think she should have seen coming a little better. Yeah,
that's understandable. And we do see kind of how that evolves later in the episode.
Yeah, exactly. Like they got over it. It seems like in time they were able to work together later. Again, it was just surprising that right off the bat, it became this like... I was first off surprised that it became like Jam versus Josh. Like that was not the reaction I expected when they got back, which is something we haven't talked about, like how those two were kind of the ones really going at each other.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. I think Josh made a different point of like, why is Jam pissed at me? Like he was going to vote me out. What do you want me to do? Just like go?
Yeah. So then we go over to the Ratu tribe, the Orange tribe.
Mm-hmm.
We get Matthew talking about busting his shoulder again. Get a flashback. Like, we need that extra 30 seconds of flashback.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess that kind of serves a purpose, just to see him being an idiot again, but...
I mean, like, I feel like right then was when you knew something weird was going to happen this episode. Like, you're like, because to your point, you're like, why are you showing me this? Like, this happened, we're over it, we're past it, and then they just randomly bring it back up. Interesting.
Yeah, I think I've seen people online talking about how that's all, how that all was edited and brought in, this new information, and it was kind of weird. I guess from that point when he said it was bothering him, you kind of see what's going to happen. You kind of saw he was going to go home. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I was not as astute to it. I thought that he was gonna I thought they were gonna build this into something, and then it was gonna be like a reason he gets voted out. Like I thought, maybe Orange Tribe loses this challenge, and they're like, okay, he just can't do challenges anymore. He's gone. I didn't expect him to not be with the game anymore. I don't know what word I want to use for what happened. I think it's like tough to decide. Jeff was very clear. He was not medically evacuated, so you can't say he was evac'd. I don't want to say he quit, because I do think if you're in constant pain and scared for your long-term health, unless you have a definitive reason to not be scared for your long-term health, yeah, you probably are going to be. I don't want to call it quitting. I don't want to call it an evac. I want to call it I don't even know. I don't know what word you use.
Right. And that kind of has me thinking some things like, okay, why are they not intervening in a way where the players can play as long as they possibly can? Like, are they giving him painkillers? Why aren't they giving him a real sling to put his arm in, just to use his shirt? What do you think about that?
I'm gonna disagree. I mean, I'm a survivor.
You disagree?
Yeah,
okay.
You're out there on the island to survive. They're not gonna have sling and painkillers for you if you fall while you're actually surviving on an island, right? I have no problem with that. I liked that they made it clear on the episode that this was not medical pulling him. That they did it in a graceful way that it was his decision to leave, but they did make it clear it was his decision to leave, which I think is good. It is a tough situation, right? It sucks. I'll still go with, why the hell are you climbing a wet rock on day one? Doesn't make any sense. I can't.
Another player taken out by rocks.
Yep.
We also saw Carson and Kane kind of forming this alliance, this nerd alliance. This is the Evan and Tim alliance. Hey, you look like a nerd. Let's get together and do something.
Us on the first day of college playing some Settlers of Catan. I was actually it makes sense, but it also doesn't, because yes, they are both nerds, but I feel like they're such different types of nerds.
Yeah, right.
Kane is the board game player who's crushing an IPA on a Friday night. Carson's the one who studied all day Friday for his exam, and then I don't know, Carson's a movie night with the gang kind of. They are nerds, but very different vibes.
Carson is not. I don't think he's doing any social activity.
I could see Carson having a little posse though.
Maybe a little bit. He's grinding.
Carson's got some cool roommates. They hang out a lot,
They hang out and talk about their aerospace homework
and their 3D printed survivor puzzles.
Yeah, I mean, Kane's also kind of playing up that kind of dorky nerd side, but he's also a law student or law graduate. I don't know.
Can't remember.
He aced his bar exam or something. That's what we know from the pregame. So he is a very smart guy.
I'm glad we know something about him from the pregame, because I really feel like he's him and Lauren are probably the only two characters where I'm kind of sorry, contestants, not characters, but where I just feel I don't know anything about them really. The only thing I remember about Kane from this entire game so far is the scene where he let Jeff knight him with the sword. Which baller. If that's the one thing I'm gonna remember about you, that's not bad. I feel like him or Lauren is going to be the merge boot, because they've both been so unmemorable.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
And so
we're gonna get the flashback or get to know you edit the episode that they go home.
That's why speaking of which, I was so confused when they did that to Josh this week, because I'm oh my gosh, is Josh going home? There's so little time left in this episode for Tribal, but why else are you showing me this? The editors totally pulled one over on me with that. I respected it.
They're throwing you a curveball. Yeah, we'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah, sorry, got ahead of myself.
What else happened? I wrote down Danny is amazing for some reason.
I also had one of those early. I think.
Because he had his like flashback kind of moment. It's
Oh,
talking
his
about
kid.
his kid who was born like 4 months ago or something. I was like, okay, he seems cool.
Yeah, he's just, he's an all around guy. I loved his little jujitsu thing. I thought that was fun. I liked that the whole
Oh
tribe was
yeah,
working together. That was actually, I think, the comment that made me write Soka vibes are off
right,
the charts.
right. They are vibing.
Yeah. There's vibes on like so many different levels on that tribe too. There's like a general positivity, there's a romantic vibe, just so many good vibes on Soka. And they win. They win everything. So
Yeah, it's all due to meditation.
hmm um I think after that though, did we go back to Tika and we saw Josh's fake idol?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I was shocked. Someone actually had to go make their own fake idol. Wow, how could we put this burden on the players instead of production just handing them one that looks exactly like a real idol?
Yeah, my comment on that is I just wrote down like, screw all these idols. There are too many idols. This is just getting to a point of it's annoying.
I agree.
Um, there, I don't even know what else there is to say. It's just annoying to keep track of everything. Luckily, that fake idol kind of got shut down. Um, Matthew, of course, goes home, so that fake idol he gave to Jamie is like, does she still think it's real?
Oh, she
Um,
definitely does, right? She literally had a confessional this week about how she has an idol or something.
well, she already has one from the swap, right?
Oh, that's true. Maybe, yeah. I feel like I only remember her saying one idol and not two. Although hers is nullified now, right? Presuming that they merge next week.
Presuming. I mean, there's like the, what do people call it? The mergatory,
Oh, Murgatory, yeah,
Murgatory. Um,
that's true. I
we
hate that.
don't know if it's actually going to be a merge or if it's going to be after tribal or something.
hmm
Um, so we'll see how that plays out. I like we kind of said last time. It's kind of hard seeing them go like they're definitely going to try to do two tribals with those idols, right? Like, there's no way that they're going to just pass up that option to have another idol play. Production isn't going to.
I don't know. I'll take the opposite side of this bet. I think those things are nullified and we're moving on with our lives. I think they thought two of
So,
them were going to end up getting used. Tika ended up going to tribal twice. Uh, I don't think they were ever gunning for all three to get used.
okay. We were talking about this last week, and I think I said something like, okay, well, they're obviously going to try to use like two of these idols or something. Try to play two. Like, they're throwing three idols into the game. It's just nuts.
I agree. Like, I think this week we could have seen double, but I don't think they're going to do double tribal plus merge all in one episode. That's just a lot to tackle.
Well, Jeff's a crazy guy.
That's true. You never know where the game's going to go next. You've always got to be on your toes in the new era of Survivor.
Right.
Oh, I just threw up a little bit in my mouth while saying it.
So then we had challenge. Challenge is a bit forgettable, I think. It was really short, like I mentioned earlier, like really quick, very similar to some challenges that we've seen in the past. It's like using the elements of all the old challenges. In the past, they used to like build those maze portions.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a cool challenge back in the day.
I'll be honest, I'm just a maze guy. I love a good maze, whether they're doing the table maze or whether they're in the maze. I think a maze is fun for Survivor. So I didn't mind this challenge. I thought this one was sufficiently good. I also think it's nice to have a puzzle that doesn't feel like you could get lost for hours. I mean, I guess Tika kind of did, but like there's a comeback mechanic to this puzzle where if you're really good, you can come back. But in theory, like as long as you're decent, if you have a lead, you won't lose it on this, which I kind of like.
Right. Yeah.
Other
I was
quick
kind of
thing.
watching it. I was kind of watching it and thinking that this is like a very easy um, puzzle, whatever you want to call it, at the end. I could do that in my sleep.
I'm gonna build one of those, Tim. We're gonna put it up and we're gonna see how good you actually are doing
Oh,
it.
okay. Okay. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna do a quick tap in on how do we feel about the immunity idol so far, the sword and shield. I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of enjoyed it. I thought at first it looked kind of stupid, but it's grown on me. I think it's like a cute symbol of the season now.
I wish the sword was like actually sharp.
A ritual decapitation instead of
Like
fire
you could.
making at the final four. I'm down.
Can you just imagine they like show more camp life and they're just like using the sword as a machete?
That'd be great.
Just like working around camp.
Tim, that would require them to show camp life, so that was a funny
chopping
thought.
coconuts with the immunity idol.
Hey,
Yeah.
you got to use everything at your disposal.
What else? So the challenge happens. Do you have anything else to add?
I was just going to talk about like when they're having medical check out Matthew. I feel like if you're in this situation, right, and you're Matthew, you're sitting there, you're talking to the doctor, you're trying to understand your situation, and then all of a sudden you hear this voice behind you. This is the game of Survivor, man. It goes beyond life. This is surreal. You're living through the roughest pain anyone has ever lived through. How does that make you feel? Like, I don't know exactly what he was saying. All I wrote was Jeff needs to shut the fuck up. Like, I just feel like when you're Matt and you're in that situation, you're probably very emotional. You're like trying to understand every word, and then like Jeff's coming in with this like useless information. You're like, please shut up right now. Or do you think it's like, or do you think he already knew he was leaving, so it was like, this is a rite of passage for Jeff to give me a little pep talk on my way out? What would your reaction?
I think the only thing I was gonna say something, but it was maybe just me being a little bit extra on the Jeff hating. I think I was just more so like, let the doctor speak, man.
Yeah, that was like you had a much more succinct way of saying it, but yeah,
right. We can see where things are going. We don't need commentary on that.
I was watching clips from Pearl Island. Yeah, great season. I love Pearl Islands. And I forgot how much more enjoyable old Jeff was. And like I feel like I'm a sucker for the big like let's make it a little over dramatic, let's be over the top, let's hype it. Like I like that stuff. And I find Jeff annoying now. So I'm trying to figure out like if someone doesn't enjoy that, man, they must just want to take that sword immunity idol and just kind of shove it through his head every now and then. You know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean, Evan.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of like evolved in a very strange way.
He just used to be such a tough ass.
Right. So much sassy Jeff.
Like he would get angry when people wouldn't do exactly what they expect. Like, yeah, he's very much changed, and I feel like, yeah, he was probably a little tough early on, and I think we've gone too far the other direction. Now he's too much of he's almost a meme at this point.
He's doing it for the ratings, man. Survivor's a family show.
Fair. Hey, if you're doing it for 40 seasons, you got to be at least decent at it. So what do I know?
Right. You couldn't do his job. They couldn't replace Jeff. Or could they? What's your take on that? Do you think they could replace Jeff?
I think they could. Yeah. I mean, what do you think Survivor is? Is Survivor Jeff Probst? Is Survivor a show about people on an island who will vote their castmates off and then have those castmates decide the winner? I feel like that's the core of the game. Nowhere does it say Jeff Probst has to be a part of it. You're telling me Rick Devens couldn't go in there and lead this thing? Boston, I mean, I wouldn't want to see Boston Rob do it, but like you're telling me Boston Rob couldn't go lead up this game? Come on. Get real.
I feel like I really wouldn't want to watch Boston Rob do Jeff's job, but you're right. The show is about much more than Jeff, so
yeah,
that's the core of what we're talking about here.
So after the immunity challenge, we head back to Tika. Josh comes up with this see what she tells you versus see what she tells me plan. And I actually thought that was a great plan. Like, He's not promising the world to Jam Jam. He's not like going insane. It's just, hey, let's see what she tells you versus what she tells me. I liked that.
Good move. Good move there. Kind of ganging up on Carolyn. We'll see how that plays out.
And then we go to the sanctuary. And
the journey.
First off, let's just be real about it. Best journey ever by a mile.
Right.
By a freaking marathon. It was the best journey ever.
I feel like they're reading fan complaints about the journeys or something, and this one was made specifically for everyone who complained about the journeys and the advantages and disadvantaging people and throwing people advantages, all that stuff kind of out the window. We just have a relaxing feast and time to strategize for the three people there, which I really enjoyed. It's like Survivor at its core, just people.
It was so fun.
People talking.
It was. We let the people make the drama, right? And yes, you could not have had.
Right.
Well, you could putting Danny and Carolyn on the same beach. I don't know why I didn't process what that might look like before, but I feel like it's going to lead to some really entertaining things post merge. But it was just, it felt like they trusted their cast to make the entertainment again, which was so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because this is an entertaining cast. Like, we do have some pretty good characters in this group.
Absolutely. And we definitely see that too in like some of the conversations between like Jam Jam and Josh, kind of like this insight into the actual relationships and connections between these people, how they're actually interacting with each other rather than like outside of the game. And maybe inside of the game. We've kind of seen in some of those behind the scenes things. We saw a video behind the scenes of like Franny going fishing.
I loved it. That would have been the best part of the episode if they included it.
It's
I'm a Franny Stanny, so what can I say?
Right. I don't know, just like the advantages and everything about these new seasons. They're taking away some of these aspects that really make you understand the players and the game in a more...
It does make me wonder, are we just like in such a minority of people? Like, we love camp life. I think you and I, or at least I know that I love camp life. I think you do too. Are we in a minority, or are they just scared that people would get bored with camp life if we saw like too much of it? I don't get why we don't see a bit more.
I think you're right. I think it might just be kind of a production thing of like, this is the trend in television. People have shortened attention spans. We gotta just like give like the Spark Notes version of what happened.
Which you had a great idea, I think, when I sent you the Franny clip of Franny fishing, which is on Entertainment Weekly for anyone who wants it. I'll let you tell your great idea, but I loved it.
Yeah, my great idea was just like, CBS, if you want, like, you could literally just get more Paramount Plus subscribers by releasing like a 2-hour extended cut of every episode, featuring more like camp life. They have the footage.
Yeah, they've already got it recorded. They're literally like, and they already edit it,
like,
right?
Even the bonus,
like a 2.5 hour episode and then cut it down to an hour. Is that how it works?
I can't speak on that. Maybe you know better than
I think
do.
I think I remember hearing that somewhere, that they like edit a longer episode and then edit that episode down from there. They choose their favorite moments right off the bat.
Right. And like the bonus clips that we've seen are edited clips. It's not just like some weird
thrown together thing hastily put out there.
Yeah. Yeah, they are edited like exactly like the show.
I didn't even think about your Paramount Plus point. That would like, I feel like they would have to double Paramount Plus's subscribers if they started doing that. Or if they put the roasted videos on there. Like, I would start paying for it, and I don't pay for it right now, but I would do it the second that happened.
I would absolutely subscribe to Paramount Plus if they gave like a 2-hour version of Survivor episodes.
I mean, that and Top Gun Maverick, that's, 3 extra hours of viewing each week for me.
Right.
Love that propaganda piece.
Yeah, like even the extra hour, it doesn't have to be anything game related, right? It could
No,
just
you could
be
show me
camp
nothing
life.
game related. You could show me an hour-long conversation at camp about what food they miss, and that would arguably be more entertaining than a regular episode.
Absolutely. Or edit it together so it's like, I don't know, more cohesive where you're getting some gameplay mixed in with like more camp life, um not just like an extra bonus hour of camp life. Um that might be pretty interesting. Um CBS if you're listening, Jeff Probst if you're listening, hire us.
We are the new
We
EPs
make
of the show, actually. Where we think we do very well at it.
Paramount if you want to make some money.
We're here to talk.
My phone number is
Back to the actual episode though, instead of our wild daydreaming. I think the quote that I've seen get talked about everywhere on the internet was Danny looking Brandon in the eyes and saying, "People like us rarely win." Which, by the way, I'm going to change the topic immediately. This was the most I've ever liked Carolyn. Like, I like her. I think she's a good character, like enjoyable. I loved her this entire scene. The eye rolling, I can't remember exactly what she said. Like, I think it was, "I'm glad you guys worked that out." I cackled. I cackled for like 5 minutes. I thought that was so funny. Like it again, it was just her in her element, like not talking about the game, just being annoyed that two guys were being bro heads, just being dummies around her, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, how tone deaf can you actually be to like do just leave someone completely out of the conversation? Don't you want to like make relationships and connect with anyone you can in this game?
I feel like it really showed Danny
It's
is
just
not going to be a strategic threat.
yeah,
I really don't want to throw Brandon too far under the bus. I think Brandon was going along with it the normal amount you would expect someone to go along with that.
I agree. It definitely.
I don't want to
felt
put him under, but yeah, Danny, like, bro, you are being so dumb. Although Brandon did have a dumb comment to Carolyn about like challenge performance or something.
Yeah, I think Danny was pushing a little too hard. Carolyn, I would say in the past couple 2 or 3 episodes, her stock has risen in my book.
I mean, she's clearly a good player. Like, I don't know why anyone is underestimating her play.
Right,
it makes no sense to me.
The last episode shows that she's making good moves. She's a bit goofy, and the edit might be portraying that a little bit more than needs to be portrayed. But I mean, she could be a potential winner. I mean,
oh, absolutely. Let's just get into that, Tim. Let's just go right there.
All right,
we're gonna talk about it. I said when we were doing our cast predictions. Obviously we're both terrible at winner picks. One thing I said was Caroline has just going to have a massive betrayal written all over her. She's going to get absolutely gutted by a close ally, right? And we don't have that close ally yet, so I don't know if that's like, maybe it is Jam Jam, or maybe it's someone we don't know yet, like someone from another tribe she just hasn't worked with yet. But I feel like we have to be on a course for either that happening or for her winning the game. I feel like those are pretty much the only two options.
I can see that happening. I can definitely see her like linking up with someone and just completely clicking in some way.
Did you see
that's
the
just
dog
like
photos?
Yeah, that was kind of strange. I don't know what's going on there.
Quick fill in. Carson posted a photo with his dog like a couple days ago, and then I think it was Franny, Carolyn. There was a fourth. I can't remember who. It wasn't Matt. It was someone else.
Jamie?
It might have been Jamie. I can't remember, but another contestant. They all photoshopped that dog into their photos, and so there's a group of Twitter people who are very hype on that this is an alliance or something in the future. If it's not, it's an all-time troll by the cast and great work, gang. If it is, that's a really funny teaser. But yeah, I just feel like Carolyn is clearly the main character of this season, and I can't tell if they're trying to build up to like a Cody-style blindside in an even more dramatic way, which I would be down for, or if she wins. I feel like we just have to get one of those two results. If Carolyn gets eliminated on some lame, over-advantaged out episode, like I would be floored. Like, I just utterly shocked.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. She seems like she's being completely underestimated. She's making good moves. Maybe the only people who are kind of catching on to this are the Tika people.
You know what
Um,
else I don't get to? When you're on Survivor, you have to assume that, like, let's say 75% of any tribe is going to be at least decent at the game, and then 25% of that tribe is going to be probably middle to bad at the game, right? Carolyn's tribe has been thinned down so much that you have to assume she is a good player to still be here. You can't
mhm.
get down to as few people as they've been down to on that tribe and just be like, oh, she's getting carried. She's gotten lucky to be here. I mean, if she has, like, it's fine. Then you're just overestimating her, and that's not a problem. I feel like you have to be pretty dumb to be underestimating her still.
That's fair. But she has also kind of been this uh, joke vote, whatever you want to call it, decoy vote for the past few votes. So some people kind of have been targeting her in some ways, as maybe underestimated, maybe physically or something like that. So
I mean, I get why
it's not
it's
like
physical
she's
underestimation. She sucks at challenges. She's just bad. Um, but I don't think there's any tie between physical prowess and success at this game anymore. Like, sure, it will help you make the merge and it'll help you in individual immunities, but in terms of like winner, no one could care less about challenge performance as a metric for winning unless you go dominate at a level we've never imagined before. Like, win every challenge, I'm talking, is like the only way I
Mhm.
can see that mattering anymore.
Yeah,
Which
I
makes
can
Danny's
see
comment
that.
about people like us rarely win even stupider. Like, your archetype is not big strong guy anymore. Your archetype is like poor player. Like, guy who thinks being strong is enough of a good game to win. That's why you don't win.
Okay, Evan. Okay, Evan. So the other thing that we get from this, what is it called again?
Summit
um,
Island, Journey, Sanctuary.
oh, sanctuary. Yeah, that's the word. Um, is we learn that they talk about the idols. So
Oh yes.
everyone knows that there's idols given to the swap players, or the three of them know that. So that might be interesting next week. That was the other thing. Then
Do you think
I guess
Carolyn regrets telling them that? Right, because she's the one who
was
brought it
she?
up how Josh had the idol. She totally regrets that, right?
I don't know.
After
Maybe.
seeing how they acted, I bet she's more interested in keeping Carson and Jamie around than keeping those two around by some like fluky weird vote.
You're the analytical mind here, Evan. I'm
And I'm not
not
saying like
thinking
she like,
about that.
why did I do that? I'm just saying like in hindsight, she'd be like, wish I hadn't told them until I'd heard them and saw how much of jerks they were going to be to me, and then I would not have shared said info.
Yeah, from that perspective, I can kind of see, like, yeah, I wish I didn't say that because these people are. Why am I giving information to these people?
Yeah,
um,
exactly. I just feel like she's mad that she thought that they would be like normal, that they would
yeah, like
want to be cooperative.
she's really not scoring any points from sharing that
Yeah,
information. It
exactly.
doesn't seem like.
Exactly.
Okay, so back to talking about Tika. Is there anything else to add? I think pre-tribal, I was kind of feeling like it could go any way. Maybe going towards Carolyn a little bit, going home.
Oh, interesting. I
Um,
was definitely thinking it was Josh. Between Josh's
okay.
fake idol getting called out in seconds, that was hilarious. Great work, Jam and Carolyn. That was hilarious. Um, and then getting the death edit with like showing his thing like 3 minutes before tribal. I definitely thought he was going. Um,
Yeah, I think it was definitely between the two of them. It
yeah,
didn't
I
seem like
agree.
It didn't seem like Jam Jam was a possibility for whatever reason.
I agree.
um, yeah, it was either a Josh or Carolyn boot. Um, anything else to add before Jeff comes in on the boat?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, Jeff comes in on the boat, says Matthews was being a dumbass.
Yeah, exact
broke his
words.
shoulder, had to go home on his stupid mistake. No tribal.
No trouble.
Merge next week.
I do want to give credit. So I was watching this episode with my parents, and I have to give credit to my mom because the second that Jeff called in medical at the challenge, my mom's like, he's going home. It's Matt. He's gone. They're not going to tribal. And I was like, really? You sure? And she's like, I'm 100% positive. And she was right. So kudos to Susan.
I 100% agree with that take. I was saying that even earlier in the episode when they were saying like, my shoulder's giving me trouble. Like,
yeah, I have no clue how I didn't like. I just,
dude, you're like, I just feel like I've seen so much Survivor that I know that like if something's flaring up again, or like they're bringing an injury up again, like that person's going.
Yeah, that's fair. I struggle. I think this is a problem for me with like watching edits. Is like Matt has gotten more or less, a potential villain edit for the season, right? With the Jamie Idol thing, more or less how we saw, like Godfather style, not true villain, right? But Godfather style.
Yeah.
So you're getting this hard ass personality, and then like you pull yourself from the game because the shoulder. Like I just refuse to believe things like that happen. And like this soft villain, I don't want to be the guy who's like, oh, you got to be hard, like. We've just had any new era villain that we're getting in these post 40 seasons is like someone who actually ends up cracking under the pressure. We have not seen a true ruthless cutthroat villain yet. I mean, Jesse was the closest we've gotten, I would say.
Yeah.
And even then, Jesse was like devil on the shoulder, angel on the shoulder. Like he wasn't true villain. Like there was a lot of reasons to root for Jesse and for what he was doing out there. So I struggle with like these villains who get these really like evil at like I'm gonna mastermind this game. Shan's another one, and then they like have these like breakdowns. I'm like, okay, you were never gonna mastermind shit if this is what you can't handle.
Wow, calling him soft.
Just like the communists in the 40s, baby.
Yeah, I think this is different, but also at the same time, his own intelligence was kind of his downfall there.
And again, like I understand why he leaves. You're scared about your long-term health. Like I'm not trying to say he's actually soft or anything. Like I just think I struggle with the edit showing you a villain, and then this is the end of that villain. It just doesn't feel right. It's not a satisfying way for Matt to go out, which is probably what they were trying to do because now they're going to give him a return appearance. Let's be real. So
of course it's not satisfying. I mean, the medevacs or any time a player quits, it's never a satisfying end to their story.
I'm not gonna lie, Colton quitting the second time was a pretty satisfying end to Colton's story. Let's be real. There was no better way for that story to end.
That's 100% true. That is a very satisfying end.
And speaking of Pearl Islands, back when Austin quit Pearl Islands, that was also like you could have a satisfying leave. I guess maybe quits can be satisfying, but yeah, to your point, medevacs are never going to be satisfying. Was this a quit? Was this a medevac? The eternal question, but
I'll agree with you on the Pearl Islands thing. I'm not going to say anything because I actually haven't seen it.
It's a great season, too. If you want an OG one to watch, would recommend.
Yeah, it did kind of feel a little bit like it was just dumb luck and Tika got super lucky with it, and
Tika got bailed out. Let's call it what it was.
Right, they got bailed out there, and we didn't get that in the first episode when Bruce left. I guess we're dealing with 2 hours of TV versus 1 hour. It's also the first episode.
To your point, I think Tika's had a lot of stuff go against him, so I'm not going to say that they totally lucked out, but I mean, for this tribal, like, I think Josh got really, really lucky. In my opinion, I think that's who is going to go home. I have no way of, claiming that, but
yeah, I agree. He was also playing stupid.
Oh, interesting. What do you think was that stupid about what he did?
I don't know. Just like he had so many swings and misses. Just like, lying about being a surgeon. I'm gonna make this fake idol.
Fair.
To make this fake idol.
I think the fake idol was fine until he did it like with only using stuff that everyone has seen. Like Caroline had already seen the note before he like. I don't mind a fake idol play. Just that was not a good one.
It just feels like he would have been a good player like 20 seasons ago or something like that.
True. Gary Hawkins, landscaper. All right. Sorry, another oldie reference.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like he wasn't playing the smartest game. Maybe socially, he was like towards the end there, like working with Jam Jam a bit. Um, Earlier in the episode, it seemed like he was kind of, I don't
This is
know.
interesting.
He
I
was
think they've
smart. He
actually,
was smart enough to play his idol.
I think they've kind of set the stage for him to actually have a pretty decent post merge. Like you could be right, and he could end up going next episode, and I wouldn't be shocked or anything. But I feel like he's someone that they've set up to do well. Like there's just a couple characters that you, based on the edit you've seen so far, that you think are going to go far,
It just
right? And
feels like
I kind of think he might be one of them.
it feels like he doesn't have the trust of anyone from Tika. He's worked with Sokka. He was kind of on the outs there. It seems like the numbers are already against him.
I hear you, but does that matter anymore? In the new, not to be Jeff Probst over here, but in the new era of Survivor, does having like a really strong alliance going into the merge help you? I don't know if it does. I think you hit that beach, you're making new friends instantly. And sure, maybe if everyone's going around saying, yeah, you can't trust Josh, both his old tribe and his new tribe saying that, then yeah, he's probably SOL. But if you find yourself in a war between two tribes or something, or two groups, I don't know. I think Josh could do interesting things.
And on that note,
And we did say we needed to do secondary winner picks.
we were gonna do that this week, weren't we?
We
I
were.
didn't come up with anything.
This guy. Should we push it one more? Do you want to push it one more, Tim?
I mean, the merge might be a good week to do it.
Fine. Yeah, we'll get through Murgatory first.
Yep. All right.
Then we'll do it.
Well, this has been another episode of Buffs and Blindsides. We'll be back next week at some time after Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, sometime. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, not Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, YouTube.
Dang, we're on Apple Podcasts. I learned something new today. Let's go.
Yeah. This is the worst outro ever.
I think you're doing great.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening.
Have a good one, everybody.
We'll be back in the next one. Peace.